Hey, it's Mike Cooch with Leverage. I've got a personal story for you here that has a very, very important business lesson for you as well. So I'm getting to be, an old guy here. I'm in my mid 40s, and one of the things that I noticed a handful of years ago was that my current fitness routine and diet and stuff like that were no longer working as well as they used to. My metabolism was slowing down a little bit, and it was getting a little bit harder to keep the weight off. My weight was creeping up, my body fat was creeping up, and when I looked in the mirror, I no longer, felt like that young athletic buck that I was hoping to look like. And so I decided to hire a trainer for the first time in my life. I've always been into health and fitness. I've always watched what I eat. I always exercise consistently, but I realized I needed to change it up, and I needed somebody that I thought had some different strategies and approaches that could help me. So I hired a trainer. This guy is known as one of the best in the industry in Southern California. Southern California, of course, is one of the best places in the world, for getting that kind of help. And this guy was great. And he put together a program for me that has worked for thousands of his clients. And it worked for me. The weight came off. I got lean and mean. I added a bunch of muscle in a very short period of time. But I was miserable. It was a very low-fat diet, and I never felt satisfied with my meals. And I had to pre-plan and pack my meals every day. It was ridiculous to me. I had all these meals packed in all these Tupperware containers that I carried around in this, cooled bag that I would have in my car with me all the time, take to work with me all the time. So I had to eat these very specific meals at specific times, all this type of stuff, which did not work in my lifestyle at all. I'm running businesses, I've got 3 kids, I'm running around with my hair on fire. This idea that I have to only eat very certain specific things at certain times and that nothing else is gonna work for me was just not conducive to the lifestyle that I live. And so it stopped working for me. I was miserable the whole time, and I felt like I was struggling every day to try to follow this approach, even though it was getting results and it was working well for me. And so I eventually quit it. If you're doing something that makes you miserable every day, at some point or another, you're gonna quit. And that's what I did. And I got great results. So for a period of time, I was really happy with it and went back to some of my old routines, eating kind of how I wanted and hiking and all that good stuff, got to exercise, ate healthy, but sure enough, the weight started coming back on. And I started getting, less lean and mean. Here in the last 6 months or so, I realized again, well, shoot, now I'm back up to my old weight again, and I'm getting soft again. I'm not as solid as I used to be. And so I was frustrated. I was like, man, I've got to change this up again. So I went on the hunt, though, based on what I had learned from that previous experience. I went on the hunt for some new strategies. And I found some new strategies. I found some people that had complained about similar things with these low-fat diets. And that's when I discovered a keto diet, which is, if you're familiar with it, it's actually eating a very high-fat diet. And that people felt that they were much more satisfied with their meals when they were following a high-fat diet, and they were actually losing weight like crazy. They were actually losing weight faster than when they follow a low-fat diet. So here's this totally different strategy, a totally different approach that would have never occurred to me. But I decided to give it a shot, and sure enough, eating a high-fat diet, the weight started falling off of me, and I was getting lean. And it was easy. I was satisfied when I ate these meals because they had a lot of fat in them. And so I didn't feel like I was starving myself. In fact, I eat huge meals a couple times a day, and I feel so satisfied. I just love it. I can eat this way for the rest of my life. And I don't have to pre-plan my meals. It's very easy for me to go out to a restaurant, find something to eat that fits within the approach that I'm taking now. It's super easy. So I've now got this diet that works for me, it fits my lifestyle, and I'm getting lean and mean. I love it. So the next thing though, I wanted to take this further. I wanted to get some change up on my workout routines. And for me, very specifically, I'm not interested in being like a big muscle head guy. I don't want to look big like a bodybuilder. Like, that's just not for me. No offense to, I know a lot of guys want to be big. That's just not for me. In fact, my rule was that I don't want to have to change any of my clothes because I put on more muscle. I don't want to get, so bulky that I have to go buy new shirts because, they don't fit around my pecs anymore. And so I did research and looked out there, and I found, okay, there are certain guys out there that have found these approaches to exercising and to weightlifting where they are getting much stronger and they're developing much more muscle mass, but they're not getting bigger. They're staying much more lean and mean and get more just kind of cut physiques instead of bigger, bulkier physiques. So great. So I started following that approach. Sure enough, it's worked for me. You may not be able to tell, especially if you don't know me and don't see me every day. And I have my shirts on. I keep my shirts on generally. So, but I can see in the mirror every day that my physique has totally changed. I've added much more muscle. I've dropped from about 22.5% body fat down to right about 16% the last time I tested. And that was about 30 days ago. My guess is that I'm down closer to probably about 14 by now. And I've added quite a bit of muscle mass, quite a bit of strength, but everything on me is essentially the same size. I haven't had to change any shirts, haven't had to do anything like that. So I'm very happy with that approach. And then one of the things I learned from that approach was to use certain apps to measure how I was exercising every day and to measure what I was eating every day so that I knew, each time I went into the gym, the last time I worked out, I was able to do 175 pounds, 6 reps. Let's see if I can either add 5 more pounds to that or add an extra rep or 2 to the same weight. So every time I go to the gym now, I have the data, I have the measurements to know, am I improving? And as an entrepreneur, as a goal-oriented guy, when I have that data in front of me, each time that I go to work out, I know exactly how to push myself, and I do push myself because I'm a competitive SOB. And I see those numbers in front of me and I want to beat them every time. And I'm now, generally at least tracking the macros that I'm eating. So I know, generally how much fat I'm getting versus protein, things like that. So I know that generally I'm on target with my diet. By combining those things, again, I've lost weight, I've got leaner, meaner, added muscle mass, and I'm adding strength because in every workout, I'm improving just a little bit, gains here, every single day, every single time I go work out, I'm just getting those incremental gains because I have the data and I can make sure that I'm doing it. And then finally, because of this data and because of the strategy and the approach that I'm following, I have the ability to make adjustments and see how it impacts me. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's got, different specific goals and stuff like that. And so somebody designs a fitness program that says to, eat this much, this many calories, this percentage protein, fat, things like that, or do this workout. Those things may not work specifically for me, but because I'm tracking that data and because I can, essentially run little tests using that data, I can start to improve this process and tweak it and tune it and make it work just for me. Some people may need more protein in their diet or more fat in their diet. Some people a little bit less. For me, certain exercises may really get results. For other people, not so much. It's hard to know that if you don't have that data and you're not tracking. Okay, so this takes me back to the business lesson. Okay, the principles that I just described work in anything that you want to improve. And you want to improve your business. You want to constantly be growing and improving your business. And yet the far majority of business owners that I meet don't have a specific strategy and they don't have the measurements in place that are giving them the data that they need every single day in front of their face every single day to make sure they know, is their strategy working or not? And they don't have a process then, a methodical process for testing and improving and running those little experiments because they don't have that data in front of them. They don't have that visibility. They don't have the measurements to know, this thing that we're trying, is it truly working better today than the thing that we were doing yesterday? If you don't have those things in place, you can't realistically expect to be able to predictably grow your business and improve your business and get better results, right? You're relying on luck. You're relying on hope. One of my favorite sayings in business is hope is not a strategy. You need to use data. You need to use metrics. You need to use a process for improving those metrics that you can rely on every single day and that your team can use because it's scalable and easy to follow. Okay, I call this my growth operating system at my businesses. Okay, a growth operating system is a system that we use for having a clear strategy, having specific metrics that we measure every day in our business. We do it just in a simple Google spreadsheet. It's called our daily scorecard, and every day we're tracking certain metrics so that I look at them first thing every single morning to see what's improving and what's not. And then every single day, we are running experiments in some area of our business that we've determined needs improvement, and we're using the metrics that we're tracking to determine are our experiments moving us in the right direction or not. Hey, that's a growth operating system. That's an approach that I can follow every single day to make sure that I'm improving. And it's because of those components, because I have a strategy, because I have metrics associated with that strategy that I'm looking at every single day, and because I have a process for improving those metrics. But those things are universal. Find anything that you want to improve in your life and take that approach, and I guarantee you, you will improve it. I guarantee you that you will move those metrics forward, you'll improve those metrics, because that's your nature as an entrepreneur. That's what we do. We get competitive about this stuff. You put a number in front of me, I can't help but try and make that number better. And it's gonna be the same thing for you too. All right, put it in place. Get your specific strategy in place, make sure it's clear, make sure it's defined, put metrics in place to measure how you're doing at executing that strategy, and have your process for then improving what it is that you're doing every day. If you'd like a copy of how I do this, if you'd like to get details of how I do this, I'll put a link somewhere around this video. Get the details. I'd love to help you out with it, okay? And let me know how it goes. Take care.